time has come. We talking Loki season 2. This took a little bit of time because we had this is a very, very complex storyline that, to be honest, I don't want to miss anything with this. But I will say to the viewers, the listeners, if you're a late bloomer to Loki, I highly suggest that you do not binge watch this. Like I'm being 100 because I watched season 1 week to week, and then I think you was the one that told me like you need to catch up with Loki season 2 because I only watched episode 1 and 2. Yeah, episode 1 and 2. I watched those week to week, but then after I think I waited, and then he was like, "Hey, the season finale is really good. You need to catch up." I'm like, "All right, cool." I literally binge watched 3, 4, 5, and 6 all in one day, and then it's just so much information you have to absorb in your freaking brain. Like your brain might freaking explode if you don't have the mental capacity to keep up with what's going on. So, and I think we had this discussion in the past about when we finished watching Loki season 1. It was when you look at the Marvel Cinematic Universe, this is like the birth of what we're going to be looking forward to moving forward when we're talking about Marvel not just being a kids superhero movie type deal. Like we're transitioning into, bringing in the adult audience where this requires you to think psychologically, like, okay, yeah, like, and then I feel like this is like the prime example. When I sit down and I watched Loki season 2, it was just a phenomenal season finale. And one of my favorite things about sitting down watching TV shows, whether it be from season 1 to wherever the ending is character development. And I feel like in Loki period, from season 1 to the end of season 2, character development was this is the standard. This is legitimately the standard.
I agree with you on that. Like it's one of my favorite MCU TV shows. Loki, man, this is really complex to talk about, but I can't wait to get into it.
Yeah. So, just real quick, I will like season 1, the cliffhanger of season 1. It literally like had me like, yo, this is freaking phenomenal. Like He Who Remains, I gotta say that's like probably one of the second best names. I know we said Megatron was number 1, but He Who Remains is definitely number 2 for me. So yeah, He Who Remains, the killing off of He Who Remains at the end of season 1. But we get into season 2, I'm not going to lie to you. It was all over the place at the beginning. It was all over the place. Like the sacred timeline is broken. Like we got all these different branches. We're trying to save the TVA. We're trying to save these timelines from being basically destroyed. Prune, excuse me. That's the proper Loki term. Been pruned away. Like everything's in flux. We're trying to figure out what's going on. So, Loki, at the beginning of the show, he does this like weird thing where he's just like disappearing and reappearing in different locations. At the time, we didn't know that he was actually like time skipping, where he's able to go into the past, go into the future, and it's just everywhere. And we're trying to figure out, all right, where's Renslayer at? Where is what's the little clock thing's name?
Oh, Miss Minutes.
Miss Minutes. We're trying to figure out where they at. Like, we're trying to figure out who's good and who's bad when we're into this. We're in season 2. So we start this thing off where literally Loki comes back to his time after the interaction with Sylvie and He Who Remains, and he's like, yo, the Kang the Conqueror is coming. Like a whole bunch of different variants of him is coming, and everybody like, yo, you crazy. Like, what's going on? Like, are you okay? So like we talking Loki literally just sitting down, we're talking to the TVA, and we're trying to figure out a way of saving the TVA where, yo, we got to go back in time. We got to find basically the variant of He Who Remains at a very, very young age to help us save the TVA.
Correct. So you got Loki time skipping in the TVA, which is Ouroboros is or OB is what you call him, says it's impossible to time loop in the TVA. You got him time skipping in the past of the TVA and in the future of the TVA. Wild. So it starts off with Loki being thrown by Sylvie in a time portal and sent back to the TVA. Morbius and B-15 encountered Loki and starts, just like you said earlier, he starts screaming, he's coming, and he's like, who? He who remains came to conquer. And then he time skips to the future in the TVA where everything seems to be in chaos. The TVA is breaking down, is getting destroyed. What is it called? The main timeline is overloading. It's too many branches are like
606.
606, yeah, correct. You just got too many branches coming out at the same time. It's overloading the what's it called? The term that they call it with the timeline.
Terminal loom. The terminal loom.
The temporal loom. The terminal loom is overloading. Temporal loom, correct. Right. Is overloading, and they're trying to figure out how to stop it and implode on itself and destroy the TVA. Oh man, where to start with this? I have to say that this it's really going to be hard to explain this, but everything was set up by Kang the Conqueror in order for Loki to be the next one to step up to take his place. Where do you want to start off with this? Because this is going to be difficult.
Let's go ahead and just start with the finale of season 1, because I feel like that's like very, very imperative. Well, the start of season 1, the end of season 1, the finale is almost like in tune with the end of season 2. That makes sense. Yeah. Well,
yeah,
damn.
It is.
Yeah, it makes sense. All right, so we're sit with this dilemma. There's two Lokis, right? There's Sylvie and there's Loki, right?
The main time Loki, the 616.
Yeah, the main Loki. So He Who Remains gives them some choices where you either kill me and you take over as He Who Remains, or the other one was where you can rule the sacred timeline with me. Was that the other option?
Is either they take over for him as his replacements together, or they kill him and start the multiverse war all over again.
War. Right. And have to deal with his other variants. So Sylvie was like, has her own thing. It's like, I'm gonna kill him. I'm gonna take over the sacred timeline. And Loki's like, nah, we can't do this. We need to think this through. And I believe right there at that particular moment, he was thinking about everyone else other than himself at the time, which, by the way, if you those folks don't know, Loki's a narcissist. He only loves himself, hence character development. When we went from first introducing him in the first Avengers movie, like arrogant, wanted to be king, wanted to rule a planet, to now where it's like, I'm thinking about a bigger picture here where I would like to save the people in these timelines, and then preventing a huge war between He Who Remains variants and whoever may get involved in this war.
Correct.
So Sylvie stabs He Who Remains, and then that's when the sacred timeline just starts. It overloads the temporal loom, and all these branches just start coming apart from the sacred timeline, and the TVA is basically is in trouble right now. So we're trying to figure out a way for us to be able to save the sacred timeline, get it under control. And as you were saying, we go see Ouroboros. He's the one that wrote the TVA handbook, and come to find out, Ouroboros, he got the handbook. Ouroboros, excuse me. OB. I'm calling him OB.
OB. Yeah, OB.
We cool like that. I'm calling him OB. So OB basically got the script from Victor Timely, where Loki and Morbius, they go back in time to go see Victor Timely and possibly try to bring him back to the TVA.
Correct, because the temporal loom needs a physical DNA scan of He Who Remains, so they need a variant of him. So they go search for Victor Timely.
So in the process of doing that, we have Renslayer and what's the clock thing's name?
Miss Minutes.
Miss Minutes. Thank you.
MM.
Miss Min MM. Yes, Eminem. Eminem. So they go back in time, but they don't go to that particular timeline just yet. They go further back to when Victor Timely was still a boy, and they hand him the book, which was instructed by He Who Remains to Renslayer to give him the book for him to be able to have the knowledge to be able to go through time and space.
Correct.
Now we're fast forwarding now to the time where Loki and Mobius find Victor Timely doing a presentation on, I think it was energy at the time.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, energy, and Renslayer and Eminem, Miss Minutes. They're both fighting over Victor Timely, which both of them have the same objective. They want to save the TVA, but at this particular point, they're not really on board with each other as far as working together to save the TVA.
Yeah, they both have their own agenda. Renslayer wants to conquer with Victor Timely, aka he who remains, but he is not He Who Remains yet, not just yet. And Miss Minutes wants to rule as well with He Who Remains, but is actually infatuated with He Who Remains.
That's weird.
Wow.
That was weird. Yeah. Miss Minutes was in love with He Who Remains. Like they spent a lot of time together. Like, yeah, we used to talk all the time. You tell me the deepest, darkest secrets, and like we watch it Victor Timely. Like what are you talking about? Like, you're not a person. Like you're really just a AI.
AI that wants to become a physical being. Not yet. Hey. And then on top of that, you have Renslayer creating what's it called? Alternate timelines, branching timelines, giving Victor Timely a book written by OB, the hand guide to the TVA, which was inspired by He Who Remains, in order for him to basically fast forward the timeline so he could become He Who Remains faster. So he doesn't go through all the steps in his original timeline to become He Who Remains. It's like the name that they say, Ouroboros. It's standing for a snake that eats its own tail. It's just a continuous loop that just always happens, no matter how you change the timeline. One thing, like he creates time travel, or being able to travel to multiple universes, and then on his own. And now you have a handbook that's been given to him, written by another person that is inspired by his future self, in order to fast forward the process. This is a lot, yo. And then you got Loki time skipping past, in the past and in the future, trying to save himself, because if he doesn't save himself, he's going to die, and it'd be completely ripped off all timelines.
So okay. So we bring back Victor Timely to the TVA, right? Mm-hmm, and him correct. And OB figure out a device for them to be able to go into the temporal loom and possibly contain the branching timelines, right?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
And then they finally figured out what they need to do, but at this point, there's what do they call, like the aura that's around the sacred timeline, where it kept on making Victor Timely like disappear.
I forget the name of I forget the name of the energy's name. It's like a made up name, but like basically the quantum energy, I guess you want to call it, or whatever.
Quantum energy. So we got quantum energy, like basically he steps one foot out onto onto the running area of where the sacred loom is, and basically just withers away. So they're like, we have to figure out a way for us to get there without having him, slither away, right? So OB's
Correct.
like, we have to do it earlier. So Loki, not having full control of the time skipping, like he literally goes back in time and literally talks to Mobius and all these different people, like, what should I do? How do you decide who lives and who dies? And then he comes to the conclusion, like, I need to sacrifice myself. So at a point, he learns how to control his time skipping, and he goes back and talks to He Who Remains again, where we basically, how season 1 ended, we basically get back to that point where, all right, I decided I want to take control of the sacred timeline. What should I do? And then he doesn't believe He Who Remains, like, you have to take control of the sacred timeline. You have to take control of the sacred timeline. Like, he's just like, there's got to be another way. There's got to be another way. So he literally goes back in time, tries to redo the temporal loom thing like multiple times. Even went back in time to learn physics, quantum energy,
Quantum
right?
physics.
Quantum physics. Quantum physics, just for them to be able to do it, and then still it would end up being a failure. So at the end, we have Loki like, all right, Victor, you're not doing this. I'm doing it. Like, this is my sole responsibility. And right here, he decided to sacrifice himself instead of like having everybody else be the sacrificial lambs. Like, I'm going to do this, and then he's able to go on the sacred timeline and basically connect all the branches and literally sit on the sacred timeline like the god that he wanted to be, but not the actual god that he thought he was going to be.
Yeah, wow. So the premise of that story was that Loki became the god of stories. That's what they call it, ripped from the comics. Now he is He Who Remains, and it's wild because he ended up beating He Who Remains because He Who Remains was already had a backup plan to everything. Like, he reminds me of Batman. He had a plan A to plan Z. Like, I mean, he had backup to backups. It's just wild how he constantly, like, he knew the entire time what Loki was going to do in order to come back to that moment before Sylvie had killed him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how many times had Loki like failed just to go through all this, just to have a chit chat with them, and He Who Remains is just like, it's just wild how he's just like, how many times you gone through this, Loki? Like 1 million? Like 1 billion times? He said, come on, man. He's like, who do you think made you time skip? And he's like, so you finally gonna sit down and finally realize that you can't change? He said, I made sure that the branching timelines all happen for a reason. He said, let me guess, Victor Timely disappeared, got wiped out, got killed, got destroyed. No matter what you do, it's just gonna constantly keep going back in a loop.
Right.
It's wild though, because you think about it, going back, like, I ain't gonna lie, like season 1, He Who Remains, I thought he was a good character, even though I knew what he was doing was wrong, because he basically inserted himself as a god and destroyed the branching timelines to make his timeline, the main timeline, the 616. But then when you see him in season 2, he's completely ruthless. Like, he does not care. Like, he is beyond like a god complex. Like, he knows what he has to do, and he doesn't care who is in his way. He's wiped out timelines. He's wiped out the same people over and over and over again. But I get it. He's done this for centuries. Like, he's killed his own self multiple times, won the multiverse, and then he's tired. He just wants to relax. He wants to rest. He wants to pass it along to somebody, and he finds Loki. And Loki wants to be completely different than He Who Remains. He doesn't want to be a ruthless god. Like, he wants to be a, how do I say this, like a fair god. But at the end, he can't, because he cannot be that god, like you said. Like, he cannot be that god that he wants to be. he has to be ruthless in order to be the replacement for He Who Remains, which hence he finally gets his own throne, and now he's in the middle of the temporal loom, and now we have a different main timeline, his timeline.
In a way that makes sense, but that can be a little bit confusing if you're just literally just not even knowing what's going on.
It can be. It is very confusing, but basically, like, it was either my way or the highway when it came to He Who Remains, and Loki was like, no, there always is a different way, which they didn't really explain, but I think he beat He Who Remains. We just don't know how he really did it, unless he just said, screw it, if the multiverse comes, I'll just deal with it on my own. But he is basically the god of time, or the god of stories. That's what they want to call it, because he could rewrite time and history, rewrite multiverses. So, I mean, it's wild, but we'll see where it goes with this. I can't wait for season 3, if they make a season 3, because they can't just leave it like that. That's just, they got to finish the story, yo. Like, people say this is like the end for Tom Hiddleston because I think he's done with it, but I don't believe that. I think he still got enough. I think he still got it in him. But phenomenal actor. I like the cast. I like the chemistry that everybody had. Owen Wilson.
Oh yeah, Owen Wilson is definitely underrated as an actor. He's one of my favorite actors. He just has this like sense of like chill to him, like he's like never panics.
Never does. It's just like, wow. And everybody has like a tragic story. And Jonathan Majors, like, yo, even though I didn't like Victor Timely like that because he was kind of a punk, like a scared little boy. Like, it's completely different from He Who Remains. But I love his acting, though. Like, dude, He Who Remains, best character, one of the best villains right now. Still, Thanos is up there, but he's top 2 right now.
Oh yeah, definitely the confidence, the multiple contingency plans. Like, you really can't plan with against He Who Remains because he already thought about the solution already. Theory question: do you think Victor Timely is He Who Remains?
I thought so in the beginning, but the way that they carried him in season 2, I'm starting to think that's not He Who Remains. I didn't like the way they did Quantumania, Ant-Man 3, how they got rid of Kang the Conqueror that easily. Because we talked about this before. But I think that Kang the Conqueror, who was thrown further into the quantum realm, is He Who Remains. I know there's scars. He doesn't resemble He Who Remains, but it's possible that he's able to heal himself. I mean, he at this point he controls all time. Like, he doesn't like forget the battle scars. Like, forget the body. Like, you know, like he can be whoever he wants to be. I mean, I truly think that's He Who Remains. I don't think he's done. If they dog Kang the Conqueror with Ant-Man, and then we don't get to see him again, that's just bad or lazy writing, bro. Like, I just don't think that he's done. I just can't see it happening. Victor Timely has a long way to go if he wants to be He Who Remains, but I don't know. What do you think?
When we sat down and we did the Quantumania pod, was that March? No,
yeah,
it was like March,
no.
February, March, sometime around that time. Yeah, I was just like, man, Kang the Conqueror, based off of what I heard from you and multiple other comic book people, like, he's supposed to be like the standard of all Kang variants, and then we just come across him with Ant-Man, and he's not even a A-listing type of Avenger, and a couple of ants and a couple of regular superheroes like Hank Pym and I forgot what the girlfriend's name was, but for him to meet his end, like, I feel like if like, hopefully there is some type of tweak to this, but I just really hope that they ended up doing that they actually put a different type of Kang in there, because they said that he's supposed to be the most ruthless, right?
Yeah.
So I just hope I just hope there's like ruthless is different from the most. I don't know what's a word what's a word worse than ruthless.
I mean, there's a bunch. I mean, he is a sociopath, though. I mean, he knows what he's doing is wrong, but he still has to do it because he wants to control the main timeline. It's like Thanos. Like, you know, you have to destroy half the universe, but you know it's wrong. But you're the only one who's willing to do it. The
Everybody's
difference,
got a tone, but he has like a certain tone to it. Like you could tell Kang the Conqueror in the Ant-Man movie, it was like he had like a like a
a
aura to
drive.
him, like yeah, like a drive, like of I'm an insane person where I'm about to literally end all of life. Where we're talking about, we look at He Who Remains, he has a little bit more of like a chill vibe to him, and then Timely, he's just like this nerd that's just trying to invent stuff.
Like,
Yeah,
scared of everything, you know what I mean? Like,
scared of everything, and then we turn around, we see at the post credit scene of Quantum Mania, we see all these different variants, and they just add like a different type of personality where it's like,
it's a
and we
god
look,
complex.
yeah. So I'm just a little. I guess we got to see what happens with it moving forward. Wherever if they decide they want to move away from that particular plot with Kang the Conqueror, but if they do decide to stay with it, I just hope that there is a more ruthless Kang the Conqueror, and I just feel like that was just a miswrite where we can't do
Like,
this like this. We're gonna have to alter
I,
this just a little bit.
I feel you. Like I said, I don't think it's a one and done, bro. I don't think so. If they could bring any version of King the Conqueror, but I feel like that King the Conqueror in Ant-Man 3 was ruthless and vicious. Like, I feel like his story wasn't done yet, because it's implied that he started the multiverse war, and before he could finish it, the Councils of Kane threw him in the quantum realm, which he was stuck, and then he met Janet Van Dyne, who was also stuck, became friends, and then ruled the quantum realm, and then he found his opportunity to get out, and then Ant-Man stops him before he escapes. So I just don't see it, bro. Like, but it's possible they can do anything, but I just felt that
They can't use
they
that
built his
same
story
Kang.
up.
They can't use that same Kang though. I'm just saying
I
because
mean, do you think he's dead? Like, I don't think so.
regardless if he wasn't dead, like you can't bring him back and be like, all right, I'm back, bitches. I'm gonna beat all your asses. Like you can't do that because now you just got your ass beat by Ant-Man and ants. So
Well,
like
technically
you
not really. I mean, he got thwarted, but he didn't get his ass beat. I mean, come on, let's be honest. Like, we talked about this. Ant-Man got his ass like beat. He got boxed. That man got body shot a couple of times. I'm surprised he even survived that shit. Like, god damn. You know, because remember, this is when Jonathan Majors was filming also Creed 3 too. Yeah, he was filming Creed 3 at the time too. And he was swollen up, you know, like, pause. But I mean, that man was, when he ripped out that sleeve off his shirt, and he was like, yo, Ant-Man, let's go. Like, and Ant-Man's like, oh snap. And he getting boxed. He's like, how much time I gotta hold this door for? I think it was like 45 seconds or something like that. I can do it. And he's getting boxed. He's not even lasting 5 seconds. He's like, oh snap, I regret this. Like, yo, he was getting his ass beat though. Like, a couple of times he ran out of breath. He's like, oh, rip shots. Oh my god, yo. I just can't see him being done, dog. I just can't, like, but like, going back to Loki season 2, I can see why Kane the Conqueror or He Who Remains picked Loki, because they're kind of they have similar personalities, they have similar traits. Like, in the beginning, they're outshadowed by other people, and they feel like they're put aside, and then they have this complex, this god complex. The world belongs to them, or the universe belongs to them. They get beat. Like, Loki gets beat by the Avengers, and then Kang the Conqueror gets stopped by his own council, and then they end up becoming a god at the end. He remains, and then Loki becomes the god of stories. So I can kind of see why he picked them. But I just don't see Kane the Conqueror really giving up his power. I mean, he didn't fight for forever just to have someone rule it for him. And I see why he did it, but I just don't see him just stepping aside for too long and be like, I can see him being one of those villains like, retirement doesn't suit me. Like, I want my throne back and I'm going to take it back. You know what I mean? Hence why we're going to be, it leads to the Avengers. Kane's dynasty.
I'm trying to think. Maybe he's like he's gonna let Loki take the responsibility, but he still has the throne.
Yeah, basically
I mean?
just the face of the company, but he still runs it in the back. You know, like he runs it in the shadows.
So it basically gives him like a lot more free will to run throughout the sacred timeline if he wanted to.
True.
That's
and
just
Loki,
how I look at it.
The way I look at it too is like I feel like Loki can't leave the throne, or something really bad is going to happen, or the temporal loom overloads again, which causes the whole premise of season 2. That's how I feel, but I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I mean, anything is possible at this point.
So let me ask, what do you think the significance was with at the end of season 2, where they was like, we got to look for all these different Kang variants, and they was like, we only found one, and that was the Ant-Man encounter with Kang the Conqueror in the quantum realm.
Repeat that again.
So, like at the end of season 2, like they were looking for Kang variants. The main one that was really the big threat for them that they had on Morbius's desk was the one that Ant-Man encountered. Like, what do you think is the significance of that particular scene? Because they're not just going to put that in there for no reason. Like, there's a reason why they decided to bring that up. Is it because of the fact that, like you said, is it a possibility that particular Kang the Conqueror could come back, or is there something I'm missing here?
I think they did that so it could set up that Kang the Conqueror can come back, but it could also be a possibility that there's also another Kang the Conqueror who's supposed to be taking his place. Like you said, anything is possible at this point. Like, or it could be one of the councils of Kang, because you got multiple versions of him. Then he's a Nexus being. He's the same person in every universe. He's the same, like he's the exact same person. They all find time travel. They all loop to different universes, and they all join the council, and they all think they're right.
True. In their own little way.
In their own sense of way, yeah. So I mean, it's wild. But also too, I believe that this is gonna set up like everything in Avengers, which I feel like Loki might be that person who says, screw it, I'm going to restart the temporal loom and break the timeline and make everything one timeline. Because I mean, this is a lot going on, dude. You got too many universes going on. I mean, I could see why the basic viewers could be like, this is overwhelming. Like, it's hard to understand. And when they were doing season 2, they didn't really let you know the names of the universes. They just said branching timeline, which means it's not that important. Then you had the main timeline, which is important.
And you just sitting there like, what is really the main timeline?
Yeah, and then you're kind of like, but I don't understand. Like, you're in the past, then the future, then you're in the present, then you're going back. Like, for example, OB was from a branch timeline. He wasn't from our timeline. He wasn't from the main timeline. B15, she was from the main timeline. She was taken in 2008. So either she was there when the Avengers, when Loki attacked New York City with Thanos' people, or before. Or after, I mean, sorry. Morbius, I think he came from a branching timeline. He's from the 90s, I believe, correct?
Yeah, the 90s.
Yeah, I think he's from a branching timeline. What's her name? Kane's girlfriend. What's her name? Renslayer. She's from the main timeline. She was a teacher, I believe, and then she was pruned or arrested, is what they call it. Oh, talk about that too. This also leads into Deadpool 3. Like, this leads into Deadpool 3.
Please elaborate.
Because it's I saw the cast for Deadpool 3. Morbius is supposed to be one of the characters is in the movie, and also the timeline. The TVA, sorry, the TVA is a big part of Deadpool 3. Remember in Deadpool 2, he got Cable's time watch, mind you, because it looks just like Tony Stark's watch as well when they did the time heist.
Mm-hmm.
And he starts going, it starts cleaning the past. Remember how the MCU clarified time travel? Just because you change your past does not mean you can change your future. You just created an alternate timeline of your past or your present self, but you can never change your future.
Right.
So Deadpool, remember he. Oh, this is hilarious! I still get laugh at this. Deadpool killed the Deadpool from Wolverine Origins. Still a horrible movie though. And it tells Logan, "Yo, if I ever come back and ask for a favor, take that favor, all right?" So they say the premise of the story of Deadpool 3 is that he's trying to find Logan, like a living version of Logan, without destroying, the actual movie, the Logan, because he died in it. So they're not going to tamper with that movie. So he's going in the past trying to find his Wolverine and then save him. And then the TVA steals them too because they're causing alternate timelines. What's the term that they call when two universes collide?
They call it.
Oh my god! What is it called? What did Doctor Strange call it? I should remember this name.
It's not incursion. It's
Yeah, it's an incursion.
That's what they call it, incursion.
Yeah, an incursion. Yeah, they're creating incursions.
Okay, so this is where I'm confused because we just like Marvel explained how you can't change the past if you go back. You can't change the future if you go back into the past. But if we're talking about Deadpool, we're talking about the X-Men. Now, who's making Deadpool to 20th Century's making Deadpool with Marvel Studios, or is it just Marvel Studios?
It's Marvel Studios. Remember, Fox got bought out by Disney, so all the X-Men movie, Fantastic Four, all are now MCU.
Okay, because I was about to say, because when they did Days of Future Past, Logan went back in time, changed the past, altered the future. So that was kind of going to be a little bit confusing for me if you didn't explain that Marvel had their own little thing, and this has nothing to do with the 20th century production making the movie.
Their timeline was like a Back to Future. You change the past, you change the future, but the MCU have already rewritten it, so we're not even worried about it. Those are like what if stories, all right? Those, like, it's hard to understand. Fox Universe is like completely crazy with their different cast members and alternate storylines, and like it's all weird. They are what if stories.
Stupid with it. I'm sorry, they were just stupid with that. I didn't agree with it not one bit. How they decide they want to do these movies, like the X-Men could have been a consistent running thing, and then like you said, I forgot what pod we was talking on, but she was like, they kill people. Why are we killing off characters? And then we're later on down the road, we're trying to figure out ways to bring them back. Like, I don't understand why are you killing main cast members of the X-Men? If that's what they are, the main cast members, there should be no reason why you should do that. And now I feel like what 20th Century did was they tried to bring cast members back, which what they did in Days of Future Past, like when they was able to eliminate the Sentinel threat by going back into the past. They was able to bring Jean Grey back. They was able to bring Scott back and all these other characters. And I'm just like, what was the point of that? Like, really, what was the point of that? Like that was just like you would like. If I was writing the movie back then, I forgot when X2 came out. I think X2 came out when 2000. Yeah, damn it.
God, I feel old. We gotta look this up. God, X-Men movies.
That movie came out in 2003. Oh my goodness. So yeah, when they did that movie in 2003, do 2003, like you had to have known. Like, come on now, let's go ahead and try to keep this thing going as long as possible. They didn't end up doing that. X3 came out in 2006.
Yeah, I know. Last Stand, yo, God.
Yeah, so I just that like the way I just had to get that off my chest because I know we probably not gonna have another X-Men conversation probably until Deadpool 3 comes out.
Deadpool 3 comes out, yeah.
And personally, I'm not really a big, huge Deadpool fan. I vividly remember Deadpool 1. I fell asleep in the theater for Deadpool 2, and Origins, X-Men Origins, I did not like the way they did Deadpool in that when they sewed his mouth shut and he has all these freaking powers and like he's shirtless and that was just not for me. So this movie, Deadpool 3, I will actually go to the theaters and watch this one just for the sole fact that Logan's in it.
Oh hell yeah! This is a dream come true, bro. Like this is a great time to be a nerd. But going back, yeah, Origins was terrible. I felt this is why it's so important with the superhero movies. You need a figure like Kevin Feige because these studios don't know what the hell they're doing, yo. Like they were just writing stories, killing people off, and then like, oh snap, how did we bring them back? We should just do timeline storylines. Like, let's just go to the past and take them and then rewrite the future. And it's like, and then it creates a mess. And yeah, it's just like, this is terrible. I see what they did. They tried to rewrite the story and rebuild it with different characters. But then when you do that, it confuses the main audience. You're just like, but there's no premise to it. It feels like there's no consequences for the action.
Like, me personally, I don't like seeing different actors play the same character. That's why it was a little bit hard for me at first to be seeing Captain America as, Chris Evans as Captain America because I've already seen him in 20th and Fox as the Human Torch. Now, I can argue with anybody. I'm sorry. Him as the Human Torch, ain't nobody touching that. I think we could have went. Like we could say what you want. Yeah, he did a good job as Captain America, but Human Torch, that's Chris Evans to me.
I feel you. Hey, yo, don't get me wrong. The first Fantastic Four movie was amazing. Like it's one of Fox's top 3 movies besides X-Men 1 and X-Men 2. Well, naturally Deadpool because I got to put him up there, yo. Deadpool's movies, you can't touch that. That's pure genius. But going back to what I was saying, oh wow, I just lost my train of thought. I don't know. Like this is all like connected, you know, like you know how they say MCU's it's all connected. I feel like it's going back to what we were just talking about the other day about the Marvels. When you got Monica being transferred to another timeline in another universe, I feel like that's the X-Men's universe. That's what I feel. I could be wrong. I mean, there are people saying that it is the 90s animation cartoons universe, which I don't know the number by heart right now. But I think this is the Fox Studios X-Men timeline. They just tweaked it a little bit. And I think this is where Deadpool steals Logan from that universe. Hence Deadpool 3. So we'll see how it goes. I can't wait. I can't believe they got Logan, they got Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds to do a movie together. I didn't think it was possible. Like I really didn't think this was possible. Like you know how long we've been waiting for this?
Yep. I see. I told you I wasn't a Deadpool fan, so I can wait.
Because I don't care. I don't particularly care too much about Origins. That movie was terrible. I just don't like how they did with Deadpool. Dude. Whoever wrote that storyline needs to be shot. Like seriously, because it was terrible. Sabretooth was different. Deadpool was Deadpool though, but like the ending, he was able to get everybody's powers, but then they shut his mouth. That was stupid.
Oh, so you're right. I'm looking at the cast right now. You have, so you do have Owen Wilson in there, Morbius. It says Loki's in here too, and Miss Minutes, the voice actor Tara Strong, she's in this movie.
Yeah. Wow,
That's
right?
That's going to be interesting. Oh,
and talking about bringing Ben Affleck back as Daredevil. What's her name is Elektra, and who else?
Yep, Jennifer Gardner is going to be a lecturer in the movie.
Yep. And we'll talk about that movie too. That movie was terrible. Oh my god, Jesus.
Still haven't watched it, but two hypotheticals for you. So we got number one. Can you imagine different variants of yourself?
I never thought about it, like thinking about myself in that scenario. But now that you brought it up, I can see myself in different universes. That'd be wild though.
Okay, give me your fantasy self in the universe. What would you be doing?
I would like to be I'd like to be a samurai in the past. That would be pretty cool if that's
A
possible.
samurai of the past.
Yeah.
That's what you want to be.
I mean, I always liked the samurai culture. I mean, I always thought it would be cool to learn how to, wield a sword and stuff. I mean, what else would I be doing? I don't know. I would like to go travel in the future and see what it's like in the future. Flying cars.
But
Actually, a fantasy. I would like to travel different universes to see how other people live. You know what I mean?
I hear you, but come on, man. That was in reference to Morbius in season 2. Like all he wanted to do was go jet skiing, and I'm just like, that's what you want to do in your if you was to go back on the sacred timeline. Like I'm thinking to myself, I could think of like 3 or 4 different things that I would be doing right now. Like I'd be a movie star on the red carpet. Like, hey, that's the Vor right there. Oh my God, let me get your autograph. Oh my God. Or like I could be like, I don't know, like a sports broadcaster or something like that. Or I could just be laying out on the beach sipping mojitos or something. Well, my ass ain't tanning no way. But yeah, just laying there, just enjoying myself, not a care in the world. Like, come on, man, you gotta use your imagination. I'm pretty sure you could think of something that you would rather be doing.
I mean, there's a lot, but I mean, I wouldn't want to be famous. But I give you some. I probably end up being like Eddie Brock. You know, when he was when he was moved to the main to the MCU. If I'm travel to another universe, right? Let me get this straight. Like, I would be probably sitting at a bar and somebody's explaining to me, like, imagine like being transferred to another universe and then they're telling you we got superheroes and they're real, and you're just sitting there like, so let me get this straight. There's a flying guy with a hammer, a dude wearing a robot suit, and a little dude who turns green when he gets mad. It would be like unbelievable. Would you believe it? Like, would you be like, so let me get this straight. I'm not in my universe. I'm in another universe, and there are people that are superheroes, and you're a superhero yourself. Or just think about it, like you're just an average dude, and you're just like, what's going on? Like, I probably wouldn't believe it. It'd probably be like a dream, but I'd probably end up being like, I'd probably be mind fucked by it. Like, if I'm able to travel to another universe and see how people are, like, green isn't go, it's stop. It's like, red and green are opposite. Like, going back to the multiverse of madness. Like, nobody talks about that.
Yeah, that was weird.
Or go to a universe and you don't pay for food. Everything is free. How does that work? Does that mean healthcare is free?
I want to experience other universes too.
That'd be cool.
That'd be a pretty good cool experience.
Or see yourself like as an alien. Let's say you're a Creed and you don't even know. Like, in another universe, you're a Creed. I mean, a scroll. Sorry, a scroll.
A scroll.
Yeah.
I want to be a Titan.
A Titan.
Yeah, I want to be a Titan. If I would be an alien, let me be a Titan, a giant. Like, let me be Thanos' second cousin or something.
That'd be pretty cool, though. I would like. Well, actually, you know what? To answer your question, I would like to be like a being with some powers, like super strength, something like that. Not just a regular human.
Okay, so you get the opportunity now. If you was to be a different variant of a superhero, well, excuse me, somebody in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, who would you be?
Damn, there's so many.
I know mine.
So many.
I know mine.
Who?
I'm gonna go ahead and strip Shuri from the Black Panther mantle. Put my ass in there.
Oh, you want to be T'Challa? That's his own. Let's see. I know I just said that I want to be a human, but I've always dogged Spider-Man, bro. I gotta go with Spider-Man, bro. Just to be able to. That was my second choice. Just the web sling, because he goes through a lot of bullshit. But come on, man, like, they'll be able to web sling and just be swinging around New York City, and be able to go par to par with Logan Captain America, Iron Man. Who else? He's gone toe to toe with Juggernaut. I mean, dude, he's strong as shit, and he's smart.
My only thing is I'm scared of heights, so that swinging thing, I'm not doing that. At least with a Black Panther, my feet are going to be on the ground.
My second choice is to be Iron Man because I just think having a suit of armor is pretty freaking cool.
You know what's crazy? Like growing up watching comic book TV shows, nobody wanted to be Iron Man.
Bruh.
Nobody wanted to be Iron Man because they always thought he was weak. The persona of Iron Man back in the day was, oh, boom, one little hit, and it's crazy because I don't know if you watched the animated series of Spider-Man back in the late 90s, but it was at the end where you had I forgot what's that war with Dr. Doom involved in it.
Oh, Battle World?
Yeah, Battle World. Iron Man was recruited. He didn't do very much. He was only recruited for his smarts. He wasn't recruited for his battle tactics and stuff like that. So like it was just like Iron Man, nope, not doing that.
I don't know, just something about Iron Man is just I just dig his vibe, bro. I don't care about the money.
Robert Downey gave him swag.
He did. He really just did.
He gave him some swag. I ain't gonna hold you. Like Robert Downey, he gave Iron Man some swag. I'm like, I won't be Iron Man now.
And I just like how he's not like he doesn't care, right? He just like, I am Iron Man, and just like everybody's like, what the heck? Like, oh snap! Like he's the only hero who's done that.
That's true.
Think about it. He's the only hero that came out and said he was a hero. I mean, Captain America, it's given. He was more of a puppet to the government, so they had to establish who he was. Who else? Nobody else wants to give their secrets up. I mean, I don't think there's a superhero that actually gave up their persona. Like, to be honest with you, like gave up and say, you know, I am this person. Everybody else's secrets is basically like revealed to the public because it was leaked.
I think you might be right on that one. I don't think anybody.
Iron Man was the first to do it and the only one to do it, bro. Spider-Man secret was leaked out by Mysterio, which hence Far From Home. So that was wild.
All right, real quick, what's the next movie we got? Well, for Marvel that we have coming up? That's probably gonna be.
That's a good question, bro. So far, I don't know. MCU next on. I don't know. I think it's just Deadpool 3 right now. That has just been confirmed. Let me see.
Okay.
You got Deadpool 3, July 26th. Oh, Venom 3, but that's Sony. Kraven the Hunter, that's Sony.
Hey, Echo's coming out. Ironheart coming out. We got Agatha coming out. Daredevil coming out. Deadpool 3, May 3rd.
I think that's pretty much it so far. They haven't really like released any other new movies yet or let the public know.
I just feel like they just been pushing back. They've been pushing back Blade too much. I want to see that.
I want to see that jump. You know, that jump will be lit, bro.
Yeah, that jump will be lit. Oh my goodness! All right, so before we close it, I will say, it's a special occasion. It's Thanksgiving, so obviously, I hate to bring up regrets, but you get Loki's power of being able to time skip. Give me one thing that you would change in the past.
One thing? Give me anything?
Could be anything.
Damn, I don't know, man. I can't think of anything on top of my head right now. Like
you can go back to college. You can be a freaking get a master's degree. Like, you could be like, I don't know, not drink, not smoke. Like, think of something.
I would redo high school again. It was like one of my funny years, but I'd probably do it different. I probably wouldn't have skipped school so much. Yeah, I would skip it way too much.
I would agree with that one. I think it might either be high school. Yeah, I think it might be high school.
I think I would have focused more on my studies. I wouldn't say I would have been a complete nerd, but I think it would have helped me to like push my education a little bit more further, like be more excited about it, like more intrigued by it. Like, I mean, I'm intrigued by like information now, but I just wish that my younger self could be like the same way I'm feeling now as I'm older. I think it's because it's an older, like it's a mature thing. As you get older, like the more you know, or the more you want to know, or the things that are unknown you want to get to know. I don't know. It's just saying like.
But you can go back as a time skipper and educate yourself, right?
That's what I'm saying. Like going back, I would go back and redo it again. You know, go back to school and finish it. You know, like this time instead of just going to skipping parties or just hanging out with friends all day long at the mall, like a dumbass. You know, thinking I was cool.
I'll be altering a whole bunch of different things. Hey, yeah. Don't mess with this person. This person's not good for you. Stay away from this person.
Oh, you want to go that far for good? You say, oh, there's a lot of things I want to go back and fix, but I don't want to talk about that. That's too private.